Next is from KlickPush, is the company from the USA, and this is the co-founder, Ben Jorgensen. Welcome.
Thank you all. I appreciate this. Anyways, this is an amazing conference. Oh, yeah, I need that. I do need that. Thank you. This is an amazing conference. We're in Spain. So thank you very much for your time. This is really awesome so far. So to begin with, my name is Ben Jorgensen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of KlickPush. Cool. We connect consumers to brands through digital music. So to begin with, I want to just talk briefly about the marketing trends of 2015, namely big data and content marketing strategies. I'm not going to really dive into big data, as I think that's why we're all here, but specifically content is becoming a really big thing. So what do we do when we target those individuals? We're entering an age of consumer capitalism where consumers are getting an active voice for what they want in their marketing. They can reach out to Twitter and reach out to brands. We're all very connected. Well, KlickPush provides the ability to use music as a form of content to convey a brand's message. More specifically, we allow marketers to use dynamic music to personalize their omni-channel marketing initiatives. So how do we work? So when we work with a brand or an agency, we first define the campaign. Is this really an omni-channel marketing initiative, or are we siloed into something like a display campaign or email marketing or even social paid campaign? So once we identify that, we then start to understand the target demographics. Are we going after one specific demographic? What is the targeting information that we're receiving for this campaign? Is it many different segments? So now once we understand the target that we're going after, the fun begins. At least for us it is. So we get to take your targeting and we segment music that is going to be appropriate for that target demographic. So if we have 3 different segments that we're going after, we're going to have 3 different segments of music. They're going to relate to each of those users. So once we then segment that music, well, let me kind of preface on where we get this music is we spent about 2 years building music industry relationships, and namely, we acquired Sony Entertainment's entire catalog of music that would give us the real-time ability to make adjustments to that segment of music in these dynamic and real-time environments such as display advertising. So to go back to where we are in the process of working with a brand, when we generate a campaign, we launch it. So take, for instance, a display ad campaign. We would take a display ad, and when a user came across our display ad while visiting a website, they'd be able to preview a song, all from within the ad experience. If they didn't like that song, they could skip it, which KlickPush would then optimize for the next best song within that segmentation. If the user was so enticed that they felt that emotional connection, they could click on the call to action and further engage with the brand, going further down the funnel. And we then actually give that user the song. The user then has the ability to take that song and put it in Spotify or iTunes or Google Play account. We're very agnostic to what music player is out there. And then the user gets to enjoy it in perpetuity, which means that every time they listen to that song, they're going to be listening to your brand. And they're going to think of how they got that very positive experience. So one case actually sticks out. We've worked with Zappos and Svedka Vodka and Ford Motor Company, but one case in specific kind of sticks out, and that's with Live Nation. We worked with Live Nation to drive revenue and new user acquisition from display advertising campaigns. When we looked at their target demographic, we saw that they're reaching out to 18 to 60-year-olds. It's very broad, of people that go to concerts. So what we did is we segmented music that would meet each of those demographics. What the results were astronomical when we launched this display campaign. We saw a 3x return on their investment in a matter of 1 month. We saw a 5x return on their investment over the lifetime value of that user. Furthermore, we saw about a 4x increase on their click-through rate. We saw about 15% of people shared this experience on Twitter and Facebook. And then about 76% of people that interacted with the ad did more than one action. They previewed it, they skipped, they followed on to engage with the brand even further. But one of the most remarkable things is the client came to us and said, well, we think that Billboard Top 40 music is really going to resonate with our customers. But the data told us a different story. The data told us that this 1950s song, Sugar Sugar by the Archies, resonated better with everybody. It was the top performing song. The second most performing song was this 1960s song, Nancy Sinatra, These Boots Are Made for Walking. So what we found was that when we personalized the message and we personalized this experience, it invited people to interact with the campaign, and that ultimately turned into revenue. But let's look at some of the data that we actually learn from layering music. So we know targeting. We understand that what a female 18 to 24 that lives in Nashville, she has a $45,000 salary. But when you start to layer music, you get not only personal insights and preferences, but you get consumer spending behavior. You start to understand how they interact on the web, that they have 2.3 cell phones in their household. We learn more about that user than we ever have. But most importantly, I think what KlickPush is doing and what brands are able to do is build that dialogue with the consumer. They can incite passion, emotion, something fun, inviting, invigorating, that makes people want to relate to the campaign. So I leave this one note, and that's, the future of marketing is not only how well we can target, which I've heard great pitches, but it's also how well we can connect with the consumer. Thank you.
Brilliant. Wow. Excellent. Thank you, Ben. Thanks. Brilliant. Hey, I did it facing the judges as well, so I'm sure you got that full flavor, rock and roll. Yeah. Questions, please.
I guess subjectivity in segmenting music address.
Yeah. How do we do it? Right, it's a great question. So I don't know if you kind of researched Pandora. I've heard that Pandora actually does a lot of their segmentation manually. They actually have people going through music and listening and tagging it themselves. So I'm not going to lie to you when I tell you that we also do that as well, as everybody in the music industry does that. But we also are starting to pull third-party data sets like BlueKai that can help us start to pre-segment and pre-populate that list. The optimization that occurs once a campaign goes live is really based on kind of our own algorithms and what's performing based off of several different metrics as well.
Can you talk about the brands that you think this is relevant for? Because presumably it's not for everyone, but there are some brands out there that...
Yeah. I mean, I would ultimately say that any brand that's looking to connect with a consumer is really where it falls in line. And I say this because we entered this space not because we have music backgrounds, but because music's so highly segmentable. When we opened up Sony's catalog, there's 550 different genres of music. That's 500 different genres that we can start to identify with different customers and get really more granular. Where we've actually worked with are kind of across the board with customers. Svedka Vodka, Zappos, the e-commerce shoe company, Ford Motor Company, Live Nation, yeah, that's down the middle because they're a music company. But anybody, any brand that's more B2C, I think really kind of resonates with this as well. Yeah.
You guys are still early stage, right?
Yeah, how can you tell?
No, just it sounds like you're still figuring out the market and the marketing and everything else, but I just want to give you a little bit of consolation, is that songs have found out because music was so relevant, they were on one of every 4 smartphones up in Canada. They were early adopted, right. And so there's a huge opportunity for you. And I think it is really zeroing in on what the promise is that you're delivering, but you're in the right space, right time, you're discovering your way into that, and that's the greatest thing about early stage companies.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, definitely we're aiming for driving more engagement in a very true sense of positive outcome with it, which is revenue back to the client. So,
brilliant, thank you. Let's big hand for Ben. Congratulations.